Monarch, there are folks that say and that are under the belief that there is a working, functioning foreign government that's working towards their betterment, and they always ask, why is the Amexem-Moor-Empire doing what they do when this so-called system, other system, seems to be functioning just fine, and humanity is progressing.
Hold on. What government? Where is it? What's got to do with the Amexem-Moor-Empire? Um, and you said it's dealing with humanity. I'm not even quite sure what that is. Our kith and kindred, or quote unquote humanity. I'm not quite sure what humanity is. Are you talking? If you look at local terminology, the term humanity comes from that word human, which actually has a legal definition. And man and human are not the same thing. So I have to ask the question when folks ask me things. And now, Minister, I'm not being you know how we proceed. I'm not being facetious here. I have to know where you're coming from and why. First and foremost, let's be clear. When you speak to the issue of governing structures, let's get back to the fundamental essence first. Man, family, clan, clans come together to formulate a tribe. That constitutes a nation. But how a nation engages in international discourse, whether it's dealing with other nations, now that's something altogether different. That's when the governing institution comes into play. Individuals engaging in their collective and individual sovereignty amongst themselves is one thing. But when they're going to come and engage in things with parties who are extra regnum or outside the body of that particular realm that they are a part of, that requires particular things in place to engage in all types of discourse, whether it be for trade purposes or just maintaining peace and amity, as it said. So, in that issue, now you're talking about the basics for the nation internationally. The Constitution, the flag, the seal, the sovereign treasury, the sovereign governing body, sovereign governing head, and ties to a geographical landmass. You don't have to actually have land, but ties to it. Where do you have the oldest bones and artifacts? For example, our Bedouin kith and kindred. They travel here, and there in their caravans, and nobody bothers them. Old bones and artifacts spread all over the place. They're kith and kindred, they're family. We know who you are. Nobody bothers them. And so when parties ask you or you asking me now about particular things, when you say about parties talking about there's a foreign institution or a foreign government somewhere else doing whatever for whoever, well, whoever decides to contract into whatever those parties are doing, that's their business. I'm still not certain what that's got to do with the Amexem-Moor-Empire. We deal in the diplomacy and governance of by and for the Moors from a Moorcentric center of gravity. Now, what other parties do, peace be upon them, let them do what they do. There are parties that apparently have engaged in being a franchisee of a franchise playing games with a particular corporation that supposedly exists. Now, you're dealing with a something, an it, if you're going to go in that particular route. You're talking about something inorganic. I'm organic. You're organic. We are natural beings of posterity. Why would we bow down to something that is inorganic? That makes zero sense. So, parties need to look at their language. They need to see the why behind what they're looking to do. And that how will come naturally. Now, when parties start talking about something foreign unto them, the real question is, well, if you're going to engage in the foreign, why is that important to you? Why is that a priority for you? And especially if that foreign, if it is actual, proves itself by its activities or their activities be hostile to you. Why would you want to engage in something that is hostile to you when you don't have to? When there's a viable option, a viable alternative to doing such. So I have to ask you to consider these things, because just because somebody puts something out there doesn't mean you have to take it. Logic and reason is where it starts. So, does that give you any clarity?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But a lot of times, what I believe they're asking is, or what I believe they're saying basically is that our way of life, the Amexem-Moor nationals and empire way of life, may seem to be more difficult than what they make believe, or what they may believe within whatever existence that they're in right now.
Difficult, you say? Is that a fancy way of saying that folks are slackers? They're lazy and cowards?
Could be, sir. Could be. I believe so.
So, you want to cry and complain, not you, but folks want to cry and complain about the badness that they're dealing with, but they don't want to actually raise a finger and do any work to do something about it. Well, that's their loss. That's not an Amexem-Moor-Empire issue. What they do is what they do. Folks they're entitled to their opinion, whatever that may be. But in terms of logic and reason and getting on and taking care of things for themselves, and again, as I always say, our offspring really should be, must be, motivation enough to do something about that madness. So, I can't speak for folks who are where they're at. We're in North Amexem. I don't know where they are. I don't know what they're doing or why they're doing it. So, I can just say to them, look, whatever you choose to do, peace be upon you. But if you're looking for viable options, whatever you're doing, and you are of the original men and women on this planet, we have a viable option available to you if you choose to make use of it. I don't know how to make it any plainer. Minister, you have a question you want to ask me?
Yeah, something's coming to my mind. This may be like a rhetorical question or stupid question. I know there's not any stupid questions, but how can a nation be truly sovereign if it is under the jurisdiction of the corporate United States of America?
I'm not quite sure.
Just a question.
For the record, I don't think it's appropriate for me to address that particular matter.
I'm sorry.
And here's the reason as to why. The corporate United States and the non-republic that you referred to, the purported United States of America, again, non-republic, that I can't say legitimately without being hostile or disrespectful because it's not a republic if it ever was such a thing. Those particular parties that engage in particular fraud, wherever they may be, that's their business. Can't get into that. Now, I can't speak for where folks is coming from. I can only speak for the Amexem-Moor-Empire. We're not hostile unto the corporate United States. As a matter of fact, we have incorporeal hereditary birthright claim unto particular trees from our ancestors that's currently in effect and in force with the corporate United States. And as a consequence of that issue, because we are in treaty with them, I have no issue. We are basically either neutral or friendly towards them. And since we don't have any direct engagement with them, we are just neutral at this point. As a consequence of our neutrality, it would be ill for us to speak of anyone in such a unbecoming manner. We don't want it done to us, we won't do it to anybody else. But in terms of folks saying that they're sovereign but engaging under somebody else's venue, either you're sovereign or you're not. You cannot be both. That's someone that's engaging in what we refer to as commercial misfortune. They are basically commercial lunatics. You're one or the other. Pick one. And folks have a huge misconception about what sovereignty is. A lot of folks think sovereignty is not paying taxes and not paying parking tickets to any particular jurisdiction. I'm not quite sure what gives them that type of mindset. What I do know is sovereignty, technically, by definition, is just freedom from external control. Freedom from external control to do that which you will in harmony with the Creator and not imposing your will upon someone else. So basically, if it's inside the 5 basic principles and it's inside the golden rule, then basically you're not doing anything that's unjust. And if you're not being unjust to someone, well, you're living your life purpose. That's what sovereignty is really and truly about. So it would be probably incorrect for me to go into anything beyond that. So I don't think it's appropriate for me to do that. And once more, it's not about being engaged in obfuscation. It's just a matter of being respectful. We want folks to respect us with respect to other parties. And
I meant no disrespect to anybody.
No. You asked a question. I'm just saying that in responding to that particular question, we're not going to disrespect anybody because we're not going to stand for being disrespected.
Right.
So if you don't want it done to you, don't do it to anybody else.
Right.
And we're not hostile to anyone. Our thing is, look, live and let live. What folks do, what they do. What folks contract into, what they contract into. It has nothing to do with the Amexem-Moor-Empire. We don't feed into it. We're not going to feed into it. So we're about food, clothing, and shelter, system of health, system of learning, and the general things of social infrastructure, psycho-socioeconomic infrastructure of by and for our folks in harmony with the Creator. And everything else outside of that, what folks do is what they do. So it's all love, it's all peace, and I thank you for your question. And I think, well, next time we gather, let's see if we can do something a little more appropriate than asking stuff like that, because it's really